When your cat walks into a room, looks at everyone, and then quietly chooses one person to sit beside, do you actually know what just happened? Because to most people, it looks random. Maybe coincidence, maybe comfort, maybe whoever fed them last. But that moment isn't random at all. It's a decision. And behind that decision, there's something deeper that most cat owners completely miss. Because cats don't choose their favorite person the way humans think they do. They don't just pick the one who gives them food or the one who tries the hardest. In fact, sometimes they choose the person who does the least. And if you misunderstand how that choice happens, you might spend years wondering why your cat loves someone else more than you. So today, we're going to break down exactly how cats choose their favorite person, not based on guesswork, but based on instinct, behavior, and the silent signals your cat reads every single day. Let's start with the first thing that matters more than anything else. 1. They choose based on energy, not effort. Most people think love from a cat comes from attention, more petting, more calling their name, more trying to interact. But cats don't see it that way. Because in the animal world, attention can feel like pressure, especially from a species much larger than them. So when someone constantly picks them up, talks loudly, or tries to engage on their own terms, the cat doesn't always feel loved. Sometimes they feel overwhelmed. Now compare that to the person who simply sits quietly, who doesn't chase them, doesn't force interaction, doesn't demand attention. That person creates something rare, a space where the cat feels in control. And to a cat, control equals safety, which means the person who seems less interested is often the one the cat feels most comfortable around. But this is just the surface, because the next factor goes even deeper than behavior. 2. They trust the one who respects boundaries. Have you ever noticed how cats react when they don't want to be touched? They move away, turn their head, flick their tail. These are not random actions. They are clear signals. But here's the problem. Most humans ignore them. They continue petting, continue holding, continue interacting. Not because they want to harm the cat, but because they don't understand the message. Now imagine how that feels to the cat. Every time they try to communicate, they are ignored. Over time, that creates distance. Not anger, not fear, just distance. But then there's that one person who stops when the cat pulls away, who notices the tail flick, who understands the silence. That person becomes predictable, safe, respectful, and slowly, the cat begins to trust them more than anyone else. But trust alone isn't enough, because cats don't just choose based on what you do, they choose based on what you feel. 3. They read your emotions better than you think. Most people assume cats are independent, detached, unaware of human emotions, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Cats are incredibly observant. They notice tone of voice, movement speed, body tension, even your breathing patterns. So when someone in the house is anxious, frustrated, or unpredictable, the cat feels it, not in words, but in energy. And animals instinctively move toward emotional stability. They prefer calm environments, steady behavior, predictable reactions, which means the person who stays relaxed, who doesn't react suddenly, who moves gently, often becomes the cat's favorite, because around them, nothing feels threatening. But there's another reason cats choose someone, and this one is almost invisible. 4. They bond through routine, not moments. Humans build relationships through big actions, playing, feeding, talking. But cats build relationships through repetition, the same person feeding them every morning, the same footsteps they hear at night, the same quiet presence every day. These small, repeated moments create familiarity, and familiarity builds attachment. This is why sometimes a cat chooses someone who barely interacts with them directly, because even without effort, their presence is consistent. And to a cat, consistency feels like security. But there's another behavior that reveals something even deeper about their choice. And once you notice it, you can't unsee it. 5. They mark the person they choose. Have you ever noticed your cat rubbing against someone more than others? Their legs, their face, their hands? That's not just affection, it's communication. Cats have scent glands on their cheeks, forehead, and body. When they rub against you, they're leaving a marker, a signal. This one belongs to me. But here's what most people don't realize. Cats don't mark everyone equally. They choose who to mark, who to claim, who to bond with. And the person they mark the most is usually the one they feel closest to. But there's another behavior that goes even deeper than scent. 6. They choose who they feel safest sleeping near. Sleep is the most vulnerable state for any animal. Their guard drops, their awareness lowers, their reaction slows, which is why animals are very selective about where they sleep. So when your cat chooses to sleep near someone, that's not random. It's trust at its highest level. They're saying, I feel safe enough to let my guard down here. And if your cat consistently chooses one person's bed, one person's lap, one specific place near someone, that's not preference. That's attachment. But there's one final factor that influences everything, and most people never notice it. 7. They choose the person who understands them without trying. Some people force connection. Others allow it. Cats are naturally drawn to people who don't need control, who don't demand affection, who don't chase interaction, because in that space, the cat gets to decide. And when a cat feels like they are the one choosing, the bond becomes stronger, because it's not built on pressure, it's built on freedom, and freedom is what every animal seeks. Final insight: it was never random. If your cat has chosen someone, it wasn't luck, it wasn't coincidence, and it definitely wasn't just about food. It was observation, pattern recognition, trust, energy, and instinct. Your cat has been watching, learning, analyzing every person in the room, and the one they chose is the one who made them feel the safest, the calmest, and the most understood. Because to a cat, love doesn't look loud, it doesn't look forced, it doesn't look obvious. It looks like quiet trust. And when a cat chooses you, they're not just saying they like you, they're saying something much deeper, something ancient, something instinctive, something real. I feel safe with you. And for an animal that lives by instinct, that might be the strongest bond they can ever give.